A Jewish story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book Beyond Courage, the untold story of Jewish resistance during the Holocaust, written by Doreen Rappaport. By August 1943, the FPO, the United Partisans Organization, had more than 300 members. A second partisan group, the Yichel Struggle Group, had 200. But only 13,000 Jews out of 80,000 were left in Vilna. The Nazis closed all the workshops and factories outside the ghetto, except for the fur factory, and announced that 3,000 volunteers, in inverted commas, were needed to work in Estonia's labor camps. When those numbers were met, they demanded another 5,000. This time no one volunteered. At dawn on Wednesday, September the 1st, German soldiers stomped through the ghetto to round up Jews for the work camps. A skirmish broke out between a group of Vilna partisans and the Germans. Kovner knew this was the moment to fight. He sent couriers through the ghetto to deliver a manifesto urging every Jew to take up arms. Jews, defend yourselves with arms. The German and Estonian hangmen have arrived at the gates of the ghetto. They have come to murder us. Within a short while they will lead us group after group through the gate. Thus they led our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers, our children. Thus were tens of thousands taken out to their death. But we shall not go. We have nothing to lose. Death will take us in any event. Only armed resistance can save our lives and honor. Brothers, better to fall in battle than to be led like sheep to the slaughter. There is an organized Jewish resistance in the ghetto that will rise with arms. Lend a hand to the revolt. Whoever has no weapons, take a hatchet, and whoever has no hatchet, take a pipe or a stick. For our fathers, for our murdered children, strike at the dogs. We have nothing to lose. Death to the murderers. When Vilna's Jews did not answer the call, Kovner knew that there was no point in staying. It was time to join the partisans in the Rudniki forests 12 miles away. He sent 2 women ahead to find a safe route. They would escape the ghetto through the sewer system. Recent rains had raised the water level so much that only 20 or 30 people could go underground at one time, for too many bodies would cause the water to rise above their heads. It was raining now, and Kovner knew if the rain got more ferocious they would surely drown underground. Shmuel Kaplinsky suggested a new route that ended outside the ghetto 2 miles away in the yard of the German security police. Too dangerous, Kovner argued. Kaplinsky disagreed. It was the perfect place because the Germans would never suspect that the Jews would be so foolish as to come there. The underground journey would take 6 hours. Kovner went to tell his mother that he was leaving. He explained that getting through the sewers would be extremely difficult even for the young. Only trained fighters were allowed to go. What will become of me, she asked. He had no answer. His decision to leave her, abandoning her to die alone, was to haunt him for the rest of his life. As Ruzka Korczak descended the ladder into the sewer, she heard the distant echo of feet overhead as the remaining Jews in the ghetto were rounded up. Kovner followed behind. Ammonia and sulfur filled her nostrils as she touched the bottom rung of the ladder. She tried not to choke. She could barely see ahead. A miner's lamp provided the only light in this dark underground of muck. When the person holding the lamp turned a corner, it was pitch black. She felt water around her legs. Heavy rain was coming in through the tunnel roof and grates. Would the water rise enough to drown them? The height of the tunnel roofs varied greatly. Korczak was only 5 feet tall, but there were sections where the ceilings were so low that she had to crawl. Some paths were no wider than her shoulders. Her hands and coat sleeves became coated with muck and slime. What if her weapon got wet and became useless? She felt every jerk of fear from the person ahead. People moaned and sobbed and called out their own names as if to confirm that they were still alive. Some fainted from the foul air and were dragged along to where an open gate brought in some fresh air. A few times Korczak fell behind. Every time Abba touched her back. You will make it, Ruzka, he encouraged her. As they passed outside the ghetto into the Christian part of Vilna, She heard water overhead as people washed their dinner dishes and flushed their toilets. Shmuel Kaplinsky had said the trip would take 6 hours. Could she make it? Her legs felt as if they would crumble. Her slime-covered fingers were numb as she touched the walls along the way. Finally, she came to the ladder leading out of the sewer. She grabbed its sides and climbed unsteadily into the fresh air. The rain so threatening below now felt magical on her face. She looked up and saw Vitka's warm smile. She saw Shmuel leaning against the stone wall. She turned back and saw Abba right behind her. Kovner divided the group in two. One half paired off as couples and walked to the fur factory, where Kempner had arranged for them to hide. Kovner's group of 15 slipped into the cellar of the German security police building. They huddled together in silence, listening to the sounds of the Germans overhead. Would they be discovered? 2 days passed. Kovner had studied a map of the villages nearby, but was uncertain if he could lead the group through the woods and find the partisan camp. But it was too dangerous to stay any longer. When night fell, the FPO fighters sneaked up the stairs and out the side door of the building. It was raining hard. They paired off, talking and laughing as they walked through the Christian part of Vilna, trying to act natural like any locals and hoping no one would notice their dirty clothes and faces. They came to a bridge that was usually guarded, but the guards had abandoned their posts in the downpour. They crossed the bridge and waited out the rain in a cave a few miles away. The next morning, desperately hungry, they stole chickens and roasted them. On the third day, they came across the body of one of the women scouts. She had been murdered. Please pass on this story.